To be born into a family with very little money, and then to have gained enough success to buy a 15th century storybook castle in Scotland is a quantum leap. It took a lot of important decision making, street smarts, insight, and focus as precise as a laser beam. It would also take some help. Most really successful people don't reach the height of their success alone. They have a coach, a mentor, someone who knows the ropes, someone who has been there and done that. Daniel S. Pena Sr. started Great Western Resources in his home with a telephone, leased fax machine, and $820. Within 8 years, the company had market capitalization of more than $400 million. Dan has organized his methodologies into a workbook and uses the steps of his business successes to teach these techniques and strategies during a 5-day seminar at his castle. The group is limited to no more than 12 participants at a time. Dan says there is no better place for his attendees to learn the steps and get comfortable with their quantum leap to mega success. Guthrie Castle is the perfect metaphor for yesterday's dreams are today's realities.
I was a macro thinker, really, but I was trying to manage it in a micro sense. And when I threw away the idea of being detail-oriented and what I call the good enough syndrome, which doesn't mean it's just good enough, but I mean that I didn't have to know every single detail and cross every T, I made all my money. This is the mentor that you're looking for. This is a guy or a gal that is where you want to be. Significantly, and I mean significantly more successful than you are now. Big time. A senior person you really like and respect. I mean really like. Not just kind of like. Vastly more experience and accessibility desired. Now, 2 of my mentors I had access to, 1 I didn't have so much access to, which I'll talk about. Same field of endeavor, most desirable, but not mandatory. Whereas here, you want to be different areas of expertise. Here, you want it the same, because you're going to be dealing one-on-one. I had 3 mentors. 1 in general business, 1 in personal development, and 1 in the oil, natural resources. And something else in common outside business, because you want to spend a lot of time with these guys. Now, I played golf with most of mine.
The Quantum Leap Seminar is designed to be most helpful to senior executives and entrepreneurs. It will have the most impact for those who make final decisions and who approve or reject strategies and tactics. If you are looking for a rah-rah session because you need to get motivated, this is not the place for you. However, if you are already motivated and truly ready to implement sound, proven business strategies that will quantum leap your business to get maximum results within a minimum length of time, then you are ready for the experience at Guthrie Castle with Dan Pena. Dan chronicles the professional challenges, accomplishments, personal triumphs, and financial tragedies he has experienced on the way to mega success. A few things you will learn at the seminar include how to tap into almost unlimited sources of working capital, why it is so important to position yourself to go public even if you never plan to, why you must pay yourself and your staff first, how to become a macro thinker, how to develop your exit strategy, the importance of mentors over mastermind groups. You will also learn why you should give away equity.
Give. Give. It's extremely important. Not, I'll give it to you if you're a good girl later on. Give it. You have no idea what it will do to your partners, employees. I mean, it's beyond your wildest imagination what it will do. When we used to walk in at Great Western Resources on Sunday, you thought it was Tuesday. The only difference is people were wearing these kind of clothes. Because there was just as many people there on Sunday as there was on Tuesday. You didn't get run over at the elevator at 5 o'clock from, people going home. I'd get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, there'd be people there. I'd leave at 11 o'clock at night, there'd be people there. Friday night, the Sabbath, there'd be people there. Why? Because I gave out a lot of equity. A lot of equity. I can't emphasize it enough. All these guys, all these rich, high-powered super performers that I've talked about, they all give away equity. Then when I would get to the next stage, and then you give them money on top of it.
This is different from any other business seminar that I've been to, because there are not just answers here and not just a system, and both of those are here, but there is a level of knowledge that is not usually possessed by the instructor. Dan Pena's accomplished a lot in his own life. He's gone to a lot of work to find out what it is that makes high-performance people successful. And he's taken that and not just shared that with us, he's pounded that into our little brains so that when we go home, we're going to have a hard time forgetting it and an easy time putting it to work.
There's the pay price to action that Dan alludes to all the time. You have to change your way of thinking if you're going to grow your business. When you go back to your business, you can't do what you've been doing and expect to do a quantum leap. It's just not going to happen. More of the same gets you more of the same. We came up with a way to increase our cash flow $500,000 immediately this year. Right now, it's coming in now as we speak. Our little beavers are back there depositing checks and socking them into the bank. We have increased in the last 4 months our business 50%. 5 weeks of that we were on vacation.
Prior to founding Great Western Resources, Dan was chairman and co-founder of JPK Industries, an energy company. He also held the position of vice president at the investment banking firm Bear Stearns & Company. He was director of financial planning at Payne, Weber, Jackson & Curtis, president and CEO of Kennedy Industries Incorporated, president of his own consulting firm, OppuComp, and serves as chairman of his personal holding company, Great Western Development Corporation. He is chairman of CanCaddy, founder and chairman of PHG Incorporated, chairman of Firo Resources, chairman of Success Development Incorporated, chairman of Property Tax Consultants Incorporated, and chairman of the Warner Company. Since leaving Wall Street, Pena has had successful negotiations with Credit Lyonnais, British Petroleum, Chemical Bank, Shell Oil, Mid-Atlantic Bank, Chevron, Bank of Scotland, Hunt Oil, Credit Suisse, Citicorp, Texaco, Union Bank, Fidelity, Barclays Bank, Prudential, Onasa Shipping Lines, S.G. Warburg, Bank of America, Security Pacific, Bank One, Home Savings, Coopers & Lybrand, Ernst & Young, and Deloitte Haskins & Sells, and many more. He has also had successful negotiations with the United States, Israeli, Kuwaiti, Yemen, Chilean, Mexican, Indonesian, Philippine, Japanese, and the Netherlands governments. In addition, he has successfully transacted business with the Church of England and the Bank of England. He has also been a financial advisor to the Vatican. Pena has been featured on the television program Making It, Minority Success Stories, CBS News, and the prestigious British Broadcasting Company, among others. He has received the Latin Business Association Outstanding Business Owner Award and the John Regan Award for Excellence by the Center for Entrepreneurial Management. He was appointed to the United States Presidential Roundtable Senatorial Committee and to the Executive Committee of the Alliance for a Safer Los Angeles. He is currently a member of the Trust Fund Board and the Foundation Board of California State University, Northridge, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration while on the Dean's List while carrying 23 units. He has been featured in many domestic publications, including a Pulitzer Prize-winning article in the Los Angeles Times, Entrepreneur Magazine, the National Law Journal, Robb Report, and Hispanic Business. He has also been featured in dozens of United Kingdom publications, including the Financial Times. Dan didn't always have financial security. He grew up in Los Angeles with his mother and his father, who was a policeman who at one time worked 2 extra jobs to make ends meet. He didn't do well in high school. He dropped out of college and volunteered for the draft. Dan entered the Army as a private and left as an officer. While in the service, he gained a real sense of responsibility when he was put not only in charge of himself, but of the people who served under him. This was a turning point in Dan's life. After the service, he returned to college with a vengeance and graduated in half the time it would have normally taken. He decided to turn his life around.
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is what I call insanity. We wonder why we're not getting different results, yet we're doing the same thing over and over again. Again, Babe Ruth led in home runs until Hank Aaron passed him, and strikeouts. I've made 50,000 business decisions, 52,000 now. I've only been right about 30,000 times. I've made 22,000 mistakes. Chronicled them, all of them. And we're not talking about buying note paper, stationery, and pencils. I've lost hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And I've made more hundreds than I lost.
In addition to more than 25 hours of Dan sharing, coaching, prodding, and cajoling you to quantum thinking in the boardroom of the East Wing, there is high tea in the drawing room, fabulous dinners, cognac in the library, and late-night snooker. The list goes on and on. After all, you'll be staying in a sumptuously appointed castle. A castle with a full spa. You can play golf on the private course or relax in the jacuzzi, steam bath, or sauna after working out in the fully equipped gym. There's an indoor running machine, stairmaster, and tanning bed. Guthrie Castle has a long history. The deed was originally granted by David II to Sir David Guthrie, who subsequently obtained a warrant from James III of Scotland under the Great Seal to build a castle with an entrance gate called a yett at Guthrie in 1468. The Guthrie family, which was very prominent in Scotland since the early 1500s, lived in the castle until 1983. Pena and his family moved into the castle in 1984.
There's all kinds of sequences or vignettes that go in between these numbers and go down another 50 numbers. But it all started, in this particular case, with the idea that I wanted to live on a castle on an island, and live away from everything that I was used to. And the other sequence that you've already heard yesterday is I wanted to have a $2 billion company and be one of the highest paid energy executives in the United States. Does this stuff work? In my mind, without question. And the only time that I buggered it up is when I try to make it too detailed and I try to Lotus 1, 2, 3 it.
What I learned in these past 5 days at the castle was that what I've learned in 25 years working within corporate America really were a lot of the wrong things to be doing. The caution and over-planning that I've been saddled with in the past will fall from us and will not shackle us as we go forward.
And the reason I came to Guthrie is I was looking for something that would help me to achieve the things that I know I can achieve. And this week has been probably, or has been the most significant week of my young life. I'm 25 years old, and I can say with all honesty that I've learned more in 5 days about life and about what it takes to be successful in life than I have learned in 16 years of education, 12 years of public education, and 4 years at Harvard University. And while I appreciate what I've learned at Harvard, they didn't teach me what I learned here this week.
But there's one thing that I learned being in the education business in the past, and that is that there's really only two ways that you're going to get an education. You're going to go out and beat your head against the wall for what most people take all their lives to do. And they spend their lives trying to make it, just beating their head against the wall, learning the same old things, and making a living, possibly, even a good living. And then there's the Dan Pena way, and that's called quantum leap, and that's where you do it in a hurry, and that's why we're here. After looking back, what I spent to come over here doesn't mean a thing. In fact, what really worries me is those folks who don't come because they thought it was too expensive. The truth is, what's it going to cost you if you don't come?
Of utmost importance during the week-long seminar is talking about what the participants want to discuss. The seminar is held as an open forum for all ideas, comments, or opinions. Dan is devoted to answering your questions, whether it be during the seminar in the boardroom, on the golf course, or over cocktails. He is there to help with your specific quantum leap to mega success.
50%.
That's
the guy
correct.
who's doing 10 million maybe.
Yeah. We're just talking about averages. You know, you can do a lot of things with numbers. Well, then why are there people that make 10 times more money than us? Why are there people that are 10 times smarter than us vis-a-vis business? Why are there people 1,000 times bigger, their companies than us? Why? If they can't be 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times smarter than us. The reason, there's a number of reasons. One of the reasons is because they think bigger than us. They dream bigger than us. They think and dream bigger than we do. If I've said it once, I've said it 10 times so far in these first 2 days. If I had one thing, I'd only change one thing about my life. I wish I had thought bigger dreams. And by the looks on the faces here, I'm hitting some home runs. I'm whacking them for 6, boy. I'm hitting some home runs. I can tell just by looking around the room. But I've learned enough not to do that anymore. Although I'll punch some other hot buttons. But listen, have a nice lunch. I don't know what they're going to be having. If there's anything that you need in addition, please. If you want to drink with your lunch, because I don't know if they're going to serve liquor, please, wherever you know where the bar is, ask the butler. He's here to wait on you, or ask Margaret, or ask whoever. But if you're just going to walk around, enjoy yourself. We'll have an interesting afternoon. It's been fun so far. Thanks a lot.
Dan will open your eyes to powerful quantum growth business strategies that are incredibly simple and unbelievably effective. Staying at the castle is a bonus. The seminar has been structured so there is ample free time to spend roaming the 156-acre manicured grounds or exploring nearby towns and the surrounding areas. The city of Kirriemuir is where J.M. Barrie, the author of Peter Pan, lived. The House of Dunn is an exquisite historic home. You can watch business taking place in the harbor or walk along easy trails. You can visit the cathedral ruins, botanical garden, woolen mill, antique shops, and auctions in the city of St. Andrews. This is actually where the game of golf was born. Golf at Carnousties, the home of Ben Hogan's 1953 and Tom Watson's 1975 British Open victories, can be arranged. Or you can stay closer to home. At the castle, there is a newly constructed golf course, and so many new dreams coming to fruition that it's difficult to keep up with all of the new developments. If golf isn't your game, you can play tennis, croquet, badminton, snooker, squash, and racquetball, fish in the loch, or you can meditate in the Guthrie Castle Chapel. Or perhaps you could engage in a game of chess on the giant outdoor board. There are beautiful walking and jogging paths that take you by the stables and the 140-year-old manse or minister's house. Beyond the gates, you'll find Guthrie Aisle, which is an ancient church built in 1150 and bought by Sir Guthrie in 1498. The 2.2-acre walled garden is breathtaking, as are all the grounds at Guthrie Castle. What if you could be one of the few guests who spent a week with Dan at his castle this year? How valuable would that be?
If you have a business that's grossing between $1 million and $10 million, it's a must to be here. If you have a business that wants to get larger, Dan is the man who teaches you.
His methodologies work. They're easy. When I first met Dan, we were babes in the woods. We knew very little about business. What he offers the person, the lay person, or the person that's getting into business or just starting in business is absolutely tremendous.
The day I got his materials, I signed up for it. The day I got it. I didn't wait because I thought it might be filled up before I could get into it, and I rushed to get into it. Guthrie Castle, a storybook castle in Scotland. I've never seen anything like it.
I can see easily that the improvements, the leaps, the fast growth that we're going to experience will more than pay for the cost of the seminar, the cost of travel, and the time away from the business.
The best way to predict your future is to create it. Successful people realize early on that they need help reaching their goals. They need a coach, a mentor, someone who knows the ropes. High-performance people thrive on making decisions. Dan has made more than 50,000 decisions in his more than 25 years in business. You need advice from someone who has been there, someone who has called on more than 300 financial institutions, hired, fired, taken a company public, someone who can walk their talk. Now it's your chance. To take the quantum leap, contact the person who gave you this video for information on when Dan will be conducting his next program.